Good morning, it's Sherry and this is Country Couponing Chicks, and I'm going to be canning some more pinto beans today. Now we canned some this week, and here is the finished jar of the pinto beans, and they are very good. We've already ate 2 jars of these. I couldn't even wait to leave them sitting on the shelf. And tonight I'm actually going to be making some homemade refried beans out of these, and using some of our canned hamburger meat, we are going to have burritos with refried beans. So today I decided I was going to try again to get some that actually had more liquid and less beans, because the consistency is a little mushy. That's why we are making the refried beans out of them. And that's what I will probably do with the rest of the cans, which we love refried beans. And we also love pinto beans. So I have got a 4-pound bag here of pinto beans, and I have already weighed out 2 pounds, okay? And I'm going to rinse these and check for any little rocks or any little dirt debris, and I'm going to put them in a pot of water, bring them up to boil, and then I am going to turn off the stove and let them sit for 1 hour. And that's how we are going to get started with this canning session today. Okay, I now have my pinto beans that have been washed, rinsed, and checked to make sure there are no rocks or little pieces of debris in a pot of water that's about 1 inch or 2 above where the beans are. And I have these on. I'm going to bring them up to a boil. I'm going to let them boil for 2 minutes. Then I'm going to turn them off and let them sit for 1 hour. Okay, as you see, the beans have been boiling, and if you can hear my timer, they have been boiling for 2 minutes. Alexa, turn off timer. This is called a pre-soak. I did not soak these beans overnight. I just put them in the pot and let them come to a boil and cook them for 2 minutes. This will take out some of the starch and plump up the beans some, so I'm hoping they won't be so smushy when they are canned. So now I have turned off the stove, and I am going to put the lid on, and I'm going to let these set in the pot with the lid on for 1 hour. Okay, now we have added 8 cups of water to our canner, and I have put my jars down in the canner. Now this is going to be to warm the jars and the water up. Now the regular mouth jars want to float, and you can get 5-pint jars into our new Nesco pressure canner. But in order to keep them from floating, I have put some water about halfway into each of the jars, and I will be pouring that water out when this comes to where I want it to be as far as the warmth goes. So what I did was I just pushed brown and pushed start, and now the little circle is going round and round and round, and I'm just going to wait until these jars are warmed through before putting in my hot beans. I have rinsed my beans and poured out all of the soaking water. That water is full of starch, and I do not want to use it in my beans. So I will be putting the beans back in the pot, bringing them back to a boil, and then they will be ready to can. Okay, now I rinsed my beans again for the second time. I have put them back in the pot again and filled it back up with water. I'm going to let it come back to a full boil, and then I will be ready to put it in the jars. Now, if you choose to cook it for the entire 30 minutes, that is suggested in some books, that is fine. But I am going to do it this way. I have pre-soaked it, and now I am parboiling it, and then I'm going to put it in my jars, and I'm going to process it for 75 minutes. I'm going to add just a splash of white vinegar to my water, and that will keep my jars from oxidizing. I have taken my jars out that have warmed and poured the water out into the drain, and now I'm going to begin to fill my jars with the hot beans. I brought the beans back to a boil, And now I'm going to turn them off, and I will be placing them in the jars. Now, I am just getting started at all this canning stuff, but I know I want my beans to be seasoned, and you are not supposed to use any sort of pork or bacon, so I will be filling my jars with chicken broth. Now, down in the bottom of my jar, I have put a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, a fourth a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a fourth a teaspoon of minced onions. We're going to see how it tastes, y'all. Okay, now I'm going to de-bubble my jars and see if I need to add any more of the chicken broth. And I just grabbed this skewer, but you can use your little debubbling tool if you grab that first. Make sure to go along the tops of your lid of your jars to make sure that you have anything off of the top that could keep your lids from sealing properly. I have all of the lids and the rings on my jars, and I just tightened them to finger tight. And then I'll be placing them right down into my canner. Make sure that your pressure regulator is set to exhaust. Close your canner. Push high. And then you want to set your time to 75 minutes. This will take just a minute. And then push start. Now once again, it will start going around until the pressure gets to where it needs to be, and then an E and the number 10 will come up. And you will start seeing steam come out of the pressure canner. Okay, now our little ring has stopped running. It now says E9. It said E10, and now it's come down to E9. And it will come all the way down to 0 or E0. And then when it does, you want to put your pressure regulator on airtight, and it will start the countdown for 75 minutes. Okay, we are on the countdown now. We are watching the numbers. It is now on E1, so that's 1 minute, so it should be a few seconds before it will start showing 75. I will put the green pressure regulator over to airtight and just let it do its thing for 75 minutes. Now I will just tell you, this is the first time that I have canned by myself. I've been canning with my friend Karen since I started just a few days ago actually, and it has made me a nervous wreck today. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it takes a while to get used to canning. And there we go with the beef, okay? So I am going to set this on airtight, and we are going to wait for the countdown. Okay, now after it went to E0, it is now spinning around again, and then it should go to 75. And then it will start the countdown. I think I got a little ahead of myself just a minute ago. So we're going to wait for 75 minutes, and then we can just kind of leave it alone. Okay, as you see, the spinning stopped and is now counting down. It's down to 71 minutes. So we have 71 minutes for it to can, where we don't touch it, we don't do anything, we just leave it alone. It is finally time to check our beans. It has ran through the 75-minute canning process, and then I let it set for at least an hour. It actually ended up sitting for about an hour and a half, and now I'm going to unlock it, And we are going to check on our beans. And I definitely see some water, or some broth actually. Okay. Oh, yes. They are still bubbling like crazy. The water is definitely all the way at the top, which is what I have been wanting, because the first couple of batches did not turn out that way. But these look absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited. Okay. So that's it, y'all. I think I actually did it. I think I canned 5 gorgeous pints of beans. And now when they seal, that one is already sealed. When the little indention and the little pop-up goes in, you can't hardly see it for the water bubble. When it goes in, it will pop. And you will know that they are sealed properly. That one is sealed, that one is sealed. So some of them will actually seal inside, and then some of them will take a little longer to seal. But once they pop and they're sealed, they're ready to go. I'm so excited, y'all. Okay, turned out so much better than I was thinking. Y'all have a good day. Bye.